Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
At 1-800-Flowers.com, we know that connections are at the heart of being human. Whether celebrating life's joys or comforting during tough times, 1-800-Flowers helps you express what words can't. For nearly 50 years, millions have trusted 1-800-Flowers to deliver thoughtful gifts that help create lasting bonds. Because it's more than just a gift. It's your way of showing you care. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST and connect today. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
Well, hello, welcome to this week's episode of Heavy Metal Tones with me, your podcast host, Tony Evans. This is a cracker of an episode I recorded last week, as you're listening to now, with Jeff Martin from Racer X and from all sorts of amazing pieces of music. He's also got a new album coming out, which I was privileged to hear see one of the lead videos, as you will find out on the podcast. But this is probably one of the most enjoyable interviews I've ever done, and I've done a lot, as you know, but this one just made me laugh. It was so much that I didn't think I could. At one point I was going to carry on talking. It was absolutely astounding. Some of the stories that this man Jeff has to tell us is just crazy. If he ever wrote a book, it would be a smash hit bestseller, I reckon. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the interview. It's warts and all, as usual. You know, if you're going to get easily offended, please do stop now and come back next week, because, nothing is held back here. Bye for now. Enjoy the interview. Also, just as I forget, if you want to watch the video of me chatting to him, it will be on Patreon. Patreon.com/heavymetaltones.com for $2 a month, and you can get to watch all the videos that I make. This one will be just an unedited, raw version of the video of the same interview. Well, take it away, Tony. Bye for now.
Where the hell is my camera? There it is. Now I'm looking at it. So, using a phone, you know.
Look, that fucking Skype shit, man. I use it all the time because it's cheap. It's free, basically. Yeah. You can talk for hours. But yeah, if you're not, sometimes it just doesn't bloody work. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what's really good to use is Messenger.
So, so people telling me I should start doing that, actually. I don't know if it can record on
Messenger. I did an album with a guy named Stu Marshall.
I know Stu. Yep.
Yeah, I love Stu, and we're going to be doing another one here soon, mainly because he's so easy to work with, and we'll do another Blasted to Static. But I think we're gonna. I don't know. He wants to go like Black Sabbathy, and I'm kind of wanting to go. We had a couple songs on there that was kind of like hard rock, not really metal. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. He's got a shitload of songs, so I get to cherry pick.
You do have a way, Jeff, by falling in with amazing guitarists. Though, if you look at your back catalog, unbelievable.
I've got a list that I probably will forget some people, but you know, when you go back down to Paul Gilbert, Bruce Bouillet, Jakey Lee,
Michael Schenker.
I played 3 albums, and then he played on my solo album. And working in the studio with him is just glorious. He's so creative. Well, I'm half German, and he's obviously all German.
Yes.
So we're on the same page for creating stuff. But yeah, I did Pat Travers. I did an album with Pat Travers, George Lynch.
Oh.
On and on. I mean, I know I'm leaving out a whole shit. Stu Marshall, of course. Yeah. And and then now the guy I'm working with now is his name's Milan Polak, and he's out of he lives in Italy, but he's an Austrian.
Mm.
Like Harry Chessa, who was the first drummer on the first Racer X album. So this new album I got coming out is mostly Racer X-y, kind of driven stuff, but I have Paul Gilbert on it, and I have Billy
Wow.
Sheehan on a track.
Wow. I mean,
And actually, I started this thing right before we were going to do. It was the 35th anniversary of the first Racer X album, so I said, well, "Let's do a salute to this album, not a tribute, but a salute." And of course, COVID showed up, so here we are,
ugh.
almost at the 40th anniversary, releasing this thing. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, because Street Lethal is one of my favorite albums. I mean,
Yeah.
that album is timeless for me. I mean, I'm younger than
God,
you, and it's my
I
youth,
wish,
man.
I wish we could remix and remaster that son of a gun. Because when I
Can't?
put it in my car or whatever, I got to turn it way the hell up. But it could be like the ZZ Top albums when they redid those and put all that reverb on the drums and stuff, and I hated it.
Oh no, terrible. Yeah,
You
yeah.
get so used to hearing the original that you're just stuck there. So
Or it's like me when
yeah,
when bands put in extra tracks in, they re-release the
yeah,
album and go, "I want the album to be a different way." So you put it on, and suddenly you're waiting for technical whatever to come on, and suddenly it's a different song. It feels
yeah,
really weird. I've said
yeah,
it
yeah.
before on this show. I don't like it. I get it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Ian Anderson did that because he always thought that Aqualung sounded awful,
Oh,
and he could never get used to that. And he redid that, and he took out the sun streaking cold
I
and
know.
all that wanders lonely. He took that out. I almost fell out of my fucking chair.
Yeah,
Going, what are you doing?
I'm a huge Toll fan, and I
Yeah,
really,
me too.
I was like, and the new. Have you heard the new single? Oh,
No,
fantastic!
I heard there's a new album out, which is.
March. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
tell you what. To this day, Thick as a Brick is the
Ah,
greatest. It's the great, not only one of the greatest albums, but it's the greatest concert I've ever attended in my life.
oh, you
My
lucky
jaw
bugger!
is my jaw is still sitting at the bottom of Milwaukee County Stadium. It,
Oh,
it was so fucking good.
I saw them do. I saw he came to Australia and he came to the Opera House and did like Figures of Brick 2.
Oh yeah.
But not the same. Like not the same because it was
Well,
not the
it's
same
kind of like
band.
trying to do. It's kind of like trying to do Operation Mindcrime too.
Oh
Give
no,
me a
don't.
give me a freaking break here, will you? Talk about a band that should have gotten a Grammy. My God,
Oh,
that's an opus to all metal.
yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, I
Yeah,
love prog, and it is just right up there in that.
yeah,
It's sort of up there with a lot of, and it is one of those albums, and again, one of those bands that are often forgotten.
yeah, 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 yeah.
People of our age would go, "Yeah, oh my God," but they
Yeah.
go, "Oh, the new guys go, oh, I don't like the sound on it." Like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
okay.
Yeah, okay,
Go
fine.
back to your planet.
Yeah. You come back and listen to more of
Yeah.
your new metal. It's up to you. Go over there. It's fine.
Maybe on Venus, whatever you're listening to. Christ's sakes.
But its influences are important, aren't they? When you're younger, and you listen to your music, like you would have come in through some incredible albums being released,
Oh
being
my
there. I
God,
mean,
yeah.
you're just so lucky. I feel lucky at my age, but you're even better. Like some
Yeah,
of the stuff
I've
that
been
you're
so
coming through,
lucky. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
I mean, I started out, I was just a kid when the Beatles came out, and I remember, hearing the Four Seasons and stuff like that. So I
Mm,
was brought up in a household of brothers and sisters who all played stuff or played. My brother was a drummer. My other brother's a guitar player, sax player. But they were all listening to stuff. And then I saw my sister come home from when the Beatles played in Milwaukee. I'm
mm,
from Milwaukee at that time,
mm.
and she was torn to shit. Her
Yeah.
mascara was all down her face. Her bouffant hairdo was something
Oh,
else. Her nylons were all ripped up, and she didn't even get backstage.
oh
You know,
wow! It
this
was
is
just the
just from
girls next to her.
this is just from going nuts. And I go, wow, guys can make girls do this. Well, okay, I'm gonna try drumming.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Ringo was my first, guy
Wow.
that and then I heard Mitch Mitchell, and then I said, well, I want to become a really good drummer.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing
Oh,
against Ringo, but there's a big difference between Ringo and Mitch Mitchell.
yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, my first drumming hero is Keith Moon.
Yeah,
That's the man that really got. I mean, I love the drums
yeah.
as well. I'm a bass player, but I love the drums,
Uh-huh.
and Keith was the one
Thank
that.
God they didn't give that guy any Ritalin.
Oh God, can you imagine?
It would have totally fucked him up. He would have never thrown a TV out of a window
Driven
or
his car
played
into the pool.
fantastic, insane drums that just fit with the vocals. If you
Oh,
listen to the vocals of The Who and the way the drums go, it's like they worked this shit out, but they never did
no,
anything. They just did it. They had that chemistry, and that's,
yeah.
chemistry is everything.
I mean, I mean, yeah,
Me and my bass player that I played with at Badlands, Greg Chason, I was in all sorts of
good
bands
band.
in Arizona before I got the Badlands gig. And when he plays drums, he plays them like me. He knows more of my licks than I forgot,
Yeah.
So when we play together, even after Badlands, we were doing a number of blues albums. And we would just come into the studio for a day and boom, and they go, wow, how'd you work all those things you're doing together out? And they go, we didn't work out shit. It's
It just
just
happens, right?
complete chemistry. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like with Keith Moon, he had the best bass player ever. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
Entwistle, right? You can't.
Entwistle,
This is crazy how good that man was. Like,
Yeah.
and I cry a lot of times. I never saw him live, right? And there are times
Right.
when people say, because I remember I had tickets to go the tour when the year he died.
Yeah.
They were coming out, and I was like, "Yep, I'm pumped."
I got to
And
do a NAMM show with him.
oh, you're kidding!
Racer X opened up, and then it was him and Stu
Yeah.
Ham played, but Entwistle played, and I got to stand right next to him while he was going up. Just the sounds he makes,
Oh,
and his fingers. Look, it's like watching Hendrix play guitar. You go,
yeah.
all this stuff is happening, and he's not doing anything.
No, it's all.
doesn't
It's
look
yeah, yeah.
like he's doing anything, and all this stuff is coming out. They're just such a light touch and so amazing.
Mate.
Yeah,
Him, Chris Squire, Steve Harris, they're these bass players that just they're godlike. They
Yeah.
sit up in
Yeah.
a different realm to the rest of
Yeah.
us.
well,
Same with drummers,
I really like the overdriven bass players like Felix Pappalardi
Oh yeah.
and the bass player from Grand Funk, which I can't think of right now.
No, but
But
amazing sound though.
yeah.
Yeah.
But very melodic. They're filling in, they're the butterflies of bass playing. They're filling in they're flying between all the flowers.
Yeah.
And they're pollinating everything.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. That's a beautiful
Yeah.
way of putting it. I'm
Yeah.
going to use. I'm going to use
Well,
that.
that's what
really
that's
good.
what a good bass player does, is especially if it's a three-piece like Jack Bruce. There's another
Oh, Jack Bruce.
unbelievable. It's like, and some of those guys were cello players, and that's why they were really good at doing what they did. The bass player for Free,
Oh,
he was a tuba player.
yes.
And if you listen, boom, 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 he sounds like he's playing tuba.
Well, Entwistle was
And
a
he's
trumpet player.
filling in all the stuff in between the guitar parts and the vocal parts. It's just
Oh.
that's what good bass players do.
Well, yeah, I said Entwistle was a trumpet player. So I mean,
Oh, there you go.
He had the fingers, right?
Right, right.
And I think that's also where you say it comes from. Is musicality, understanding the musicality. Like
Right.
drummers like yourself, great drummers,
Yeah.
they just understand musicality. People think drumming's easy. I'd love to see them have a go at it. Like,
Yeah.
and make a good
Well,
job
I
of it.
remember I was on tour with UFO,
Oh.
and I was playing in England, and it was the night, actually, the big Fallout night where I think, yeah, that was the night that Michael got bipped by Spike.
Oh my
And
God.
it was a whole big fiasco, and
Yeah.
he ran off into the night and stuff. But Nigel Halford was there with all his buddies, and Nigel is the brother to Robert Halford.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just said he's a drummer himself. He plays in a band out of England, and he was just going, you're the way that I drum is what he said is you're just so musical. And I don't go off of, oh, this is a cool riff, I'll do it here. Kind of listen to the song and try to be musical with it. Play that, hum that song and that drum part in my head before I get to that part.
Yeah, yeah.
And right after that tour, I ended up doing a whole bunch of albums with Michael Schenker. I
Wow.
did Be Aware of the Scorpions, and then we did I did an album. I don't even know if you know about it. It's a Pete Way album. It's right after he lost his wife.
Oh,
And oh God, I got stories about that tour with Pete. He's
he's one of my heroes, Pete. And
he was a howler. He's just so funny. It was beyond if what's his name? The guy who did Spinal Tap.
yes,
If
yes.
he came on tour with us, there would be a
Rob Reiner.
Spinal Tap 2 that would just be his wife was along, and she had a little Pomeranian dog, and whatever Pete was wearing on stage, the Pomeranian had the matching outfit. Yes. Yes, it was
Stripey
just so
spandex.
Spinal Tap. It was just so good. I just had to, if Pete was wearing a zebra striped, spandex thing, the dog had the same thing.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And
I've
then
got
through
tears.
the whole tour, we were on a bus together, and we're doing all of Germany, going all over Germany, Belgium, and all over the place. And we were all wondering, well, God, these rides are so freaking long. Where's this dog doing his business?
Oh no.
And when you're out on tour for a while, I've been out for a month, and wake up at night and you wonder where you're at, and
Yeah.
the bus is buzzing and zooming. I get up to go splash some water in my face in the bathroom, and here's a big stinky pile of dog shit in the middle of the sink. And they didn't even wash it down yet. We've all been brushing our freaking teeth in this sink and washing our face. And this dog is putting a grunter in this beautiful little copper sink in our bathroom on the bus.
Oh, I have to walk away from the mic. Sorry.
So there you go. Another tidbit.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah.
And what a miss.
And I mean, not far after that, that was the fallout where Mike, UFO has been together for so long, and they have these boundaries where they don't cross. Like Michael doesn't go into the backstage of Phil and Pete, and all, even though Pete's like the lukewarm water.
Yeah,
He can go in between both, and it's okay. But we were playing, I think, in Manchester or something like that, and we had our backstage was this ballroom with a big chandelier and a giant. We had all this food and all this stuff, and Michael had his little place that he would go and warm up and whatever. But Spike was there from the Choir Boys, and he had a cane because he had a broken leg, and Spike, I guess, is the nephew to the lead singer of UFO.
Yeah, yes.
And Phil, their nephew, and this was Thanksgiving night, and I'm kind of missing home. I'm in the bus, and I'm not in. This is after the show, and Michael somehow wandered into the big ballroom, and got in a fight with Spike, and Spike bipped him. I gave him a good, and Michael ran off into the night, and we're going, oh shit, the tour is over. And, he came on the bus, Michael just got bit by Spike, and all this. Yeah. So anyway, we're thinking the tour is over, but the bus goes to the next gig, and oddly enough, Michael shows up. And we had, this was during the Covenant tour, which Ainsley Dunbar had done all the drums in the studio, and I did the tour. And so he said, Michael's in the house, we're going to do it. So anyway, we have this intro song, that comes on, and Michael would always come up right in front of me and do his little sway thing that he does,
Yeah.
And through that whole time, Michael was taking a mascara pencil and making a cross on his forehead. He said it was his third eye or something. There's some weird stuff going on.
He's a fantastic dude.
He's a fantastic dude. I love the guy. I tell you, I do. But, there was weird times. But anyway, this time he took the mascara pencil and he had Spike was here with a bit on his forehead, written on his forehead. He lifted up his hat and dropped his glasses. It said Spike was here with an arrow going to the biggest bologna sandwich black eye you have ever seen in
Oh
your
my
life.
God.
Like you would go to a magic store and
Yes.
get one of the rubber ones and stick it. It had 3 or 4 folds till it got to the center. Pure black and blue giant, and he's smiling at me with this shit-eating smile, swaying back and forth. And I'm going, yeah. I'm just going, yeah, he's over it, and he's being a cool guy. But whatever painkillers they gave him, and he had about, the beers kicked in by the 3rd song. He grabbed the microphone in his mouth. You go, you know this guy, Phil Wald, he sucks. And the rest of the show was him trying to stab Phil Mogg with his guitar and Pete Way trying to hold him back while Pete Way's bass is going like a cow in heat. And that was the whole show. And oh man.
God, man. I want to restore. Write it down. Write a book, man.
Yeah, I know. Someday Michael's
Oh.
gonna punch me out. He goes, Jeff Martin, that never happened like that.
But he was
That's
too
my
drunk.
take on it.
He was too out of it to remember. He wouldn't remember it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, talk about somebody who, I ended up doing all those albums. I was getting at that Pete Way, Michael Schenker album we did together. It was right after his wife had passed away, and Michael wanted to cheer him up. So we went to Arizona, and it's an album called The Plot. Have you ever heard The Plot?
No, I don't know, because I'll have to look that up. Let me get a pen.
Oh, it's a fantastic. If you want to hear Michael Schenker playing Rolling Stones style guitar, but with Michael Schenker leads, regular Schenker leads, but and I had to learn how to sing like Pete Way. I kind of produced him vocally.
Yeah.
And I had to sing like Pete Way, so it's "Go new kid, go new vibration," because I'm playing fun games with you, immigration. So I had to do all these vocals with him, and I learned how to sing like Pete Way.
Oh, there's only one Pete Way. Oh, that's.
Oh, I know. And dude, Dudley Moore, right?
Yes.
They had those late night
heroes.
sessions,
Yes.
comedy sessions where he's
Yes.
laughing and drunk as shit.
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of those of Pete Way doing those.
No.
About Bella Piper and all this stuff. Oh, they're hilarious. Talk about something that should be released.
Oh my God.
The Pete Way Chronicles. He is so freaking funny in these things.
Oh, do you know what though? I found on Spotify, looking through to find more stuff to listen to of yours. I actually found you do a Black Sabbath cover. What I don't know.
Oh, what? With Racer X?
Yes.
Yeah, Children of the Grave.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing that ever for the first time. I'm thinking,
Well,
I must have missed
we
it.
were doing an album at that time, a Racer X album. I think it was Superheroes, or it could have been Technical Difficulties. One of those 2 albums. And Yngwie was supposed to be on that song with Paul.
Yngwie and Paul. Oh my God.
Yeah, and he at the last minute, and this is this is when Paul had his place at Batgirl Studios in Henderson, overlooking Las Vegas. And we did all those albums there, and when I heard it, Paul got called to do that song because there was a compilation album of Black Sabbath. It's either Black Sabbath songs or Randy Rhoads things or something, because we did the Randy Rhoads version of that.
Yes.
We did the Ozzy, Randy Rhoads, Tommy Aldrich kind of version of that song, but and Racer X'd it up a little bit and did all that stuff. But yeah, Yngwie was supposed to be on that.
He's meant to be a crazy dude, Yngwie. I've watched interviews with him, and you never know what day you're going to get, what kind of Yngwie you're going to get.
Oh, I toured with Yngwie. I was with Lynch Mob. I'd just done an album with George Lynch called Furious George.
Yes.
Yeah, and he got to pick out all his favorite songs, and most of those I didn't even have to practice because I already knew them.
Yeah, of course.
Montrose songs and Deep Purple songs and all this
Yeah.
stuff. But then I got the deal to do a tour, and we were opening for Ingve, and There's another, because Ingve didn't do any of the evil stuff to us. He let his wife do it,
Yeah.
and actually, I knew Gunji, who is a really great sound man for Judas Priest, way back when I was really good friends with Rob. I still consider myself
Because you
good
did some
friends
backing
with-
vocals on Turbo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I wrote the lyrics for Wild Night or Private Property. I was in the Bahamas. Me and my wife were in the Bahamas. He flew us out. God, so many stories. I'm getting off track of what I was first talking about. But anyway, we were in the Bahamas and he had a hard time getting to the second verse. So I wrote like all these lyrics out. And I remember him writing a little note to me, Jeffy, we're using your lyrics. I went, yeah.
Oh my God.
I couldn't say, like, why am I not on the album for lyrics and stuff? He flew me and my wife out to the Bahamas.
Bahamas.
I got to stay in a cottage for 17 days with his parents and his sister and his brother in the Bahamas on a English cottage on the beach.
We're not
It was
worthy.
fucking
We're not worthy.
and I got to play. I won $100 from Julio Iglesias
What?
at the pool table. We were at Compass Point
Of course we were.
recording.
Brilliant studio.
Probably whatever album that was right after Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah, is it Turbo?
anyway-
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about. I had
so
another story
you were
going on
talking-
before.
You were talking about your Inge.
Oh yeah, Ingve. So anyway,
Yngwie.
we're touring with Ingve, and of course, Gunji, who was the nicest guy always, when he was the biggest asshole to us. Never giving us any stage, no sound checks. The normal opening band bullshit.
Yep.
And by the end of the tour, George Lynch had enough. He had enough. So I don't know if you know that you never shit on the bus, right? You never take a shit. No, you don't shit on the bus because it'll stay,
Unless you're a dog, of course.
unless you're a dog. Good one. Exactly. That's the only thing. But you could do a thing called hot bagging where we would get garbage bags and put it on the toilet and you shit into the bag, right? And hot bagging is when you tie it into a knot and he hung it on Ingve's bus door. Yeah. George Lynch hot bagged Ingve. And that was in Tucson. And I'm sure George will probably punch me now and say, I never did that. There's so many things that people will probably say we never did. Yeah, so. And if you want to know why it's called the hot bag, after you tie it in a knot and you feel the bottom, there's all that piss and crap in there.
It gets warm.
It's quite warm. It's a hot bag. And if you're really an asshole, you get a hot bag in your bunk.
Oh
laying
no!
right by your pillow.
Oh,
Can happen.
Oh my God! The insights. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
With I've always wanted to ask this with Schenkner. Yeah. Just as on a musical point of view, when he comes in the studio and you're recording with him, is he like ultra focused? Or
But he's ultra opened. He's more strict and in line during touring. He doesn't. He made sure I got a certain kind of in-ears so I could hear everything, and he really fought. He's personally for time. He follows the drummer a lot to keep himself in time and stuff. But in the studio, he would just always be he's like, you hear the stories of Jimi Hendrix and how he never ever did not have a guitar in his hands. And that was Michael too. He had a little side room off to the side of the studio, and he would either be in. He had this whole house in way north of Phoenix in this beautiful area, and he would be practicing all the time. He'd always play. He'd never not have. I'm surprised in between bites while we're eating, he's still playing.
Yeah.
That's why. That's how you get that good. And it's just like water off a duck. Play. Actually, the one thing about him in the studio, like I said, is I had all these ideas, and he's just. And I'm the drummer,
Mm.
and he's totally open to all my ideas, and we did them, and we even did a song that ended up on another album, didn't end up on the album as a bonus track on another album called it was about a guy trying to go to see Christ be crucified, and he had to cross this desert, and he ended up dying on the way, but he ended up meeting Christ because they both died at the same time.
What a great story.
Going to heaven together because he was trying to. But anyway, it's called Cool Kiss of Night.
Right. Okay.
And no, he was just totally open, in the greatest guy to work with in the studio. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
One thing about him, you talk about shredders like Paul Gilbert and Yngwie.
Oh, yeah.
I heard him in that. I was just doing drum tracks, doing basics, and we were listening back to something, and he was in the studio in between doing that, and it's quiet in the sound room. And I'm hearing him play in there, and he is shredding. I'm talking total Yngwie shredding, like you never hear him do on albums. Not totally,
No, because he's quite restrained in that respect.
He's melodic, and he does all these cool things that only Michael does.
Yeah.
But he was full on Paul Gilbert, Yngwie shredding, and sounded as good as them or better. But that just shows you his caliber, that he doesn't want to use that on albums, but he can do it
if he needs to. Yeah, it's like when you listen to what's his name? We were talking about him, Black Sabbath, Ozzy's guitarist. Well, what's he?
Randy Rhoads.
Randy Rhoads, when he's doing that beautiful acoustic pieces. Such a gifted guitarist. He's not just woken up one morning and all he's done is shredding all day. He's a classical guitarist, well, and it comes across in his music, doesn't it? With Randy?
Yeah.
I think the same.
And Paul was like that too. He always had a guitar in his lap. I mean, when I first met him, and I was coming from Arizona, and we were working on Racer X stuff, which we did most of our writing over the phone or over the mail.
Oh, you love it. How good is that?
Because I was in Phoenix at the time, and he was in LA on Sycamore Avenue, and he was, he went to MI, and after a half a year, they made him a teacher. He was so goddamn good. He was just, he was very young. He was 16 or whatever, 16, 17, somewhere in there. But anyway, funny story, I'm the one who came up with the pick. The windmill guitar pick thing.
Yes.
I invented that.
What?
And I made the first one for him.
What?
And the reason I made it is I was going up to his apartment. He was on the second floor, and we called these bands that had hair really sticking out and
hair
looked
metal
like
bands.
Pigs. Yeah, but really hair metal. We called it like Lickety Sweet or Lickety something. We always called them Lickety Stupid bands.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was two Lickety Stupid guys outside his door listening to him practice, which he always did. You could put a piece of string across his lap. I could leave and come back 4 hours later, that string would be still across his lap. He'd still be playing away, practicing. Yeah. That's why he's that good, let alone he's just a super talented, smart individual. But these guys are going, they're going like, oh, and making fun of how he was playing fast. And I walked up and go, what are you two fucking monkeys doing? And they go, oh, whoa, it's Jeff Martin. Hey, we're just listening to Paul play. Yeah, I heard what you were doing. Right then and there, I went, ping, I'm going to fuck them up. I'm going to make it. I said, if I put 3 picks on a drill bit somehow, and Paul turns his back to the audience and go, And sure enough, you know, the first one I made on a wooden dowel with a washer and a screw that held the 3 picks, and they just kind of flew off. And Troy Boyer, who was I was living with him for a while, actually, right on Hollywood and Highland. I said, "Here, fix this. You know, here, do what you can. Just throw some glue on this." And Paul wants to see if it'll really work. You know, so he did that, and that's where it all started.
Wow.
So,
Oh my
and
God.
then they got $1 million. They got $1 million endorsement deals, and from Makita for that thing.
How good is that? It's crazy, isn't
It
it?
would have been better if I got it in on that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What's your idea?
I got twacked in the nose with the rubber band from that idea, from that wad of cash.
Yeah. When
But
way
you
the
know
other
what?
way.
Paul is my best friend. Is still one of my best friends. He's godfather to my only child and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's what you do for friends.
Exactly, because it's just at the time you're just being creative. You're not thinking
Yeah.
about dollars. You're just thinking about
Yeah.
creativity.
Well, this new album, I asked him, "Can you play on some?" I told him I'm calling it Lethal X, and it's a salute to Street Lethal. I even have the Street Lethal car on the cover of the album. Is
Oh,
this F1 driver, and the
yeah.
Street Lethal car is in the rearview mirror. Kind of
Wow.
like saying we're going forward, but we're looking back.
Back. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
And when does that come out? Have you got
that's coming out the 16th in Japan.
Oh,
The
fantastic.
16th of this month. So when we're done here, I'm going to send you the first video, and
Oh,
you got to
please.
kind of sit on it because we're not releasing it yet. But I want you to. It's called 90 Tons of Thunder,
I will love to see that. That'd be brilliant.
which I totally stole from Queen of the Night.
So what? It's influence.
90 Tons of Thunder,
Yeah.
tearing up the sky. Yeah.
Fuck, I love Saxon.
From Saxon.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love Saxon. In fact, that's my
Yeah.
favorite. My favorite metal is the new wave of British heavy metal. I know people deride it because it nowadays it doesn't hold up as it used to. But there's just that punky nuance to it, which
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love. That sort of
Yeah.
we can do anything on any budget. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right,
and that's what I
right.
love about it. It's not. I mean, I love Maiden, of course, but they're not. It's not
Yeah.
stadium rock. It's sort of grassroots. And I grew up
Right.
not far from the sound where near Kingsbury, where all the bands used to play at Neil's place. So like my brother used to go there all the time. He saw Maiden and Van Halen together
Oh my God.
before
Jesus.
before Maiden was signed
Oh my God.
for like
So
50p.
So it was the first lead singer?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. I couldn't
Yeah.
when he died. Because I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Deano. When he died, I was just
Yeah.
devastated.
Well, it wasn't like he knew it wasn't coming. He was in a
No,
wheelchair.
he was very
I mean,
sick. Yeah.
his health had been going for ages, unfortunately, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The trouble is though, is that, you know, had that, and no disrespect to Bruce, but had that been Bruce, the money that he would have had behind him to help
Yeah.
him. Whereas,
Yeah.
you know, someone like Paul, whose voice was failing and health was failing.
Well, you know, in all respect to him, he had a certain way of singing, and it filled a certain thing. But next to other singers, you know, he didn't have the
No, he doesn't.
no. You know. Here Bruce comes in, and you just go, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, exactly.
You
You
know,
go, would
oh
you
my
have Bruce
God.
or not? I don't know.
Yeah,
Should we
yeah.
take him from Samson?
Well, of course. You know, Bruce. It's like Dio. I got to do a tour with Dio too.
Oh my.
And I got to see him sing every night. And it's just like, he is the greatest. I'm sorry. In my book,
No.
Dio is the greatest heavy metal vocalist ever.
I have a story about. I'll tell you a story. Right, they were playing in Australia in Wollongong, and my friend had a spare ticket. This is the Heaven and Hell tour,
Yeah.
and he said, "Do you want to come along?" I said, "No, I can't. I've got work commitments. I can't come along. I've got work commitments." He dies like a week later or something.
Oh, God.
I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and you think back and you go, Jesus, I should have just gone. I'm having the day off. Fuck you. I'm going.
Yeah. No, I was with a band called the Black Symphony.
Yes.
And we were kind of like the guitar player put this thing together. He was actually a hockey player and a goalie for the Calgary Flames. He was a Canuckian. And he came up with this whole idea of doing keyboard parts that sounded. He got this from Metallica doing the symphonic album they did, where they had the whole
Yes.
symphony behind them.
Yep.
So this was really heavy music with symphonic keyboard stuff going on.
I like that stuff.
Really good. And yeah, but we got to go on tour with Dio with that.
Oh, you had to. What a shame. Oh.
Yeah. No, it was great. There isn't a sweeter. He might have been, in stature, a shorter guy. That's what I was getting at. These. I'm 6'1". Rob is tall, but
Oh,
he's
God,
got
yes.
a neck. He's got. If you told me Rob Halford has 2 extra vertebrae in his neck that nobody else has, I would say you're absolutely
Yeah,
correct.
it's where that
We go
four
hiking
octaves
up
are.
these mountains. I'd be behind him, and he'd be wearing like just a regular like tank top shirt, and his neck would just keep going. It's like this head is on a golf tee, and he had this extra stuff that let him. I mean, back in those, he's still looking at his age. He's still kicking ass, like you
Yeah.
can't believe. But what I'm getting at is these physical attributes for some singers. You have Dio. He's a very short guy, but his timbre, because of that,
Yeah.
he could. If I had to hit notes that Dio is hitting, I'd be sounding like Rob Halford, and it'd all be falsetto or chest tones and stuff. He'd be singing full voice.
Yeah.
Same with Bruce.
Yeah.
Same with Klaus, mine.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
Klaus was always a mask singer, in his nasal cavities, kind of like Don Dokken.
Yeah.
Don was on a lot of those first albums as a backup singer because they sounded like.
And you've played with Dokken, haven't you? You've been.
Oh, don't get me started. You'll need a whole nother podcast for that tour, my friend. Oh, I got fired. They got me as far away. Oh, yeah. They got me as far away from home as they could get. And it's a long story.
Oh,
Yeah. It's a long
fascinating.
story.
No, Sid, what a life you've led, man. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah. And I forget most of it until I start talking to somebody like you.
But
thank God my therapist got me down off that ledge.
Yes. It's talked me down, right?
Slowly talked me down.
But you're a survivor,
Getting back to the guitar players I got to play with, I almost got to play with one of my favorite guitar players. And Uli John Roth came in at the end of the UFO tour I was on. Believe it or not, the opening band for the UFO tour was Glenn Hughes's band. So I got to see Glenn Hughes every night do his shit. And he was clean, Yep. He had just gotten clean. He was just about to be married to his wife he still has now. And the best part of that tour was I would sneak backstage because he would have a prayer with the band before they would hit the stage. That guy can open up his own church.
Really?
He would instill so much spirit in you. His prayers were so good, and they were different every night.
Wow.
And I later on, I told him, I used to sneak behind, when guys were praying and you were giving your prayer to the band. And I said, man, you'd have me in tears. It was so good. I made it through that tour because of your prayers.
Wonderful.
And it was and he went, mate, you should have just come over and just locked hands with us. And I said, oh God, I wish I would have done that. But
you didn't want to invade their space. I can understand.
But anyway, Uli came on that tour on the last couple when we were in Belgium. And before we were going back into England again, and I hit it off with him. And he had a couple really good players, and we were doing a sound check, and we were playing all Hendrix songs. Oh. And I know them all by heart. I'm a Mitch Mitchell fiend,
Yeah.
And after the tour was done, I get a call, and I previously already said that I would do albums with Michael, and that was just coming up about a week out. I was going to go to Arizona and do the Beware Scorpions album and some other things with Michael. I get a call like at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Hello, Jeff Martin. He's got that kind of husky voice. Hello, Jeff Martin. This is Uli. And I go, I heard you play, with UFO, and I really like how you play. You are very good with Jimi Hendrix and stuff. Because I want to fly you out to my castle, and we'll do the next album together. What do you think? And I go, oh Jesus, I can't. I'm going out with Michael. And I couldn't do it because I had already done them. It's the biggest thing. I just shoot myself in the foot. And you know who he got instead of me? No. Which says everything about me, as a positive reinforcement. He got Clive Bunker. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going. Oh, I'm in that realm.
Wow.
Can't get any more real drummers than Clive Bunker and all those first Jethro Tull albums.
Oh my God.
So anyway. There's one I missed.
There's always those in life, isn't there? It's like I was really lucky to see Cozy Powell with Sabbath, and he died not long after that. And remember just thinking, what a drummer! That's probably that drummer. Him and I'd probably say probably Clem Burke from Blondie are the two drummers that just when I saw them live, just take your breath away, like crazy.
They just the way. I have a lot of fun bands that I play with up here, and we use different drummers and stuff, and none of them have this thing where they make the drums sound good. It's the way they hit them.
Yeah.
It's not so much what they're playing, it's how they're playing.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's so great about those guys is it's how they play.
Well, so I call
and how they make the drums sound. Yeah. I mean, Ginger Baker.
Oh.
When you hear that donkey tom sound, and I have some old 60s Ludwigs, and I did everybody was on the album. I did a tribute to Cream with everybody's on. Jolyn Turner singing, Glenn Hughes is singing on it, guitar, Neil Schoen's playing guitar, all these great guitar players. But I watched a lot of old Cream things, and if you look the way that Ginger set up his drums, he not only hit rims on the snare drums, he hit them on the toms too.
Yeah, he did. Because wide open
kit. That shell sound, that donkey shell sound, and I incorporated that a lot. When I want that extra push and tone, I go for rims on the toms too.
Yeah, and you can hear it. But Ginger. Have you watched his documentary about him? The movie about Ginger.
Oh, yeah.
God, he's a crazy dude, right? But he's open. I look at drumming as two things: closed drummers and open drummers. The open drummers are very like Keith Moon. It's all it's Octopus's guard. Arms everywhere. But then you've got the tight, tight drummers. And I always gravitate to the ones that do all over. Because they're just so more open and it's so much fun to watch. Like watching what's his name, Nico McBrain. He's like that. And then you get somebody like Simon Phillips, who is doing this amazing stuff. But he, once again, his drums, he makes it look like he's hardly doing anything. Yeah, like Stuart Copeland's another one.
It's amazing what he's doing. And being that he taught himself to be ambidextric, I mean, for ages I was trying to play, and this is when I was still playing drums more than singing, the Sin After Sin album or the first Assault Attack.
Yeah.
Where Simon Phillips is playing. Try to do his runs and lead off with your right hand. It never sounds right because he was leading with his left because he taught himself how to play. And trying to do some of those, even when you're just running down that Octoplus kit going, because he led with his left hand, it was like taffy coming out of a hot cauldron.
It's
smooth and drippy and sweet. It's just, and that's that guy.
Well, I had
Yeah,
a, I
I
had a
almost got
yeah.
him to play on this. I talked to him for almost. He was working in a studio that I did all the Racer X albums, and the guy is amazed. This is Simon Phillips I'm talking about. He rewired the whole goddamn studio for just so he could track drums there, and he's just an
Wow.
amazing cat. But I got to talk to him for God almost 45 minutes, and I was going to pay him like $1,000 a song to do this Lethal X album because Harry was having a fallout with the guitar. These guys, Austrian guys, don't get in a band with Germans, Austrian guys or Germans. Jesus Christ, is it? Oh, it'll be my way or it'll be the highway. God, and they are fantastic players and they're great, and the end result you get is fantastic. But boy,
Yes. Getting there is hard.
It's painful.
Yeah.
My mom had a thing, and maybe the Austrian people don't like to be called German-like,
But
but
they don't. No, they don't.
They don't. Well, that's one thing I told them, and they probably didn't like. But my dad is full German, you know, and my mom always had this thing on with magnets on the kitchen refrigerator door. It said, "You can always tell a German, but you can't tell them much."
I love it. That's brilliant. We've got
So that really, bing ding. Okay, I get you, Mom.
Oh, your mum's a very wise woman. That's a
Oh
very,
yeah,
very
and
wise woman.
she was full Slovenian.
Oh my, what a mix.
Yeah, I'm half Slovenian, half German.
What a mix. That's fiery.
Yeah,
That's a fiery dinner table.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, getting back to Simon Phillips, unbelievable. I was almost had him on the album and stuff, and Scott Travis then was maybe going to do it, but then he had a bunch of stuff, going with Priest. So
There's a splashy drummer.
and they had
Bloody hell.
this last album of theirs is just phenomenal.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Talk
I
about
reckon.
breathing new life into heavy metal.
Yeah, I said that on one of my podcasts. I think I thought the one before was brilliant,
Yeah.
and then it's come out and I was like, what? Where does that come from?
Well, when Richie got in the band, and I went to Concord down, I live in Lake Tahoe, so when we go to see some big shows, they're usually down in the San Francisco area.
Yeah,
And they play in Concord, and this was the first tour that Richie was on, the new
Brilliant.
guitar player.
yeah, love him.
And as soon as that drape dropped, with all the factories and the stuff that they had for they were like going. I think they were doing the whole. It was the anniversary for one of
British
the
Steel?
albums. I
British
think it was
Steel?
British Steel,
Mm.
and they went right down. Pounding the world like a battering. They came out with that for the first song. When I saw Richie, and they were Rob was talking. I think we're done. This will be the last tour. When I saw Richie play, and I went backstage, I go, dude, you just breathed new life into this band.
Yeah,
And I told Rob, I go, you guys ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I
This
chatted to
guy
him.
is
He's such-
amazing.
Yeah,
And sure enough, his writing and everything he's brought into Priest is why we're still seeing him today.
I mean, he's
Let
dropped straight
alone
in
Travis.
there. Yeah,
Let alone Travis. I helped, I was best friends, me and Rob were best friends out of Phoenix, Arizona, because he had moved there.
with his
And
cats.
I did a favor for Rob, and I did a favor for Scott, and I did a favor for myself. I sent Rob. This is after Racer X was done, and the bass player John Eldoretti and Bruce Bouillet and Scott were still together, calling it Racer X, and they had John Corabi, and then they had Kelly Keeling come in and do and I'm just going, they're singing my songs, and they're going, it's not working. And I said,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to put an end to this, because I knew Rob was looking for a new drummer, and they were looking at Causey Powell as being the drummer
Wow,
for
can you
Priest.
imagine?
And I sent Rob 5 videotapes of us playing, and I go, look no further than this guy. And I don't even think I ever got any of my tapes back. But anyway, I didn't get him the gig. I got him in the door to play, with them.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he got the gig. And one of the things that I loved when I heard Painkiller, and I heard Tipton doing, arpeggios and trills. I'm going, this is Racer X meets Judas Priest.
Yes.
I actually affected, with getting Scott in there, we've
Cross-pollinated.
effectively bonded Racer X with Judas Priest. Maybe only that one song, but
I mean, there's not many bands that can lose both of the most influential guitarists in heavy metal and still be going.
Yeah.
Both of them
Yeah.
have gone, and yet you don't go, oh, this is like this era. It just feels seamless.
Well, Richie filled such a big hole that he definitely took over a part. And that KK and Glenn to me are still the greatest guitar duo
Oh, absolutely.
in heavy metal. They are the greatest. Their chemistry together and all that shit. It's just KK was more whammy bar and Hendrixy and
That's
doing
right.
a lot of pulls and pushes and Tipton was he knows how to play piano, concert style piano and stuff. So to this day, I still say the greatest lead solo in all of heavy metal is Beyond the Realms of Death.
Oh, yes.
It's one of those things. If you go in prison and you got to go in the hole and you got to hum songs to yourself, these are the songs you hum because you know every note of that lead. It's so fucking perfect.
And it just comes out. It's just so
It does. Yeah.
perfect.
It's pouring. It's bleeding.
It's perfect. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big Gary Moore fan, and I find Gary
that
Moore.
guy can make a guitar bleed.
Oh, geez, man.
Yeah, that's what that's called.
When he died, I didn't go to work that day.
Fucking alcohol, man.
Oh yeah, mate. And well, the trouble is, they think they're 21. You drink that much alcohol at that age.
Yeah. Your liver finally just says, "Fuck it,
No, I'm giving up. Bye bye.
fucking done with you." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can. There's a whole podcast there on sad loss of such talent with abuse of things. But we've all. I mean, it's across the board in all creativity. Unfortunately, I mean, I was reading. Just
it's
finished
all
reading.
that downtime,
Yeah.
When if those guys could be on the stage 24/7, they'd probably be okay. But the downtime, you still want the adulation and you want the
adrenaline.
that feeling you get when you can play that good, and it's hard to, I can't even say that I know that feeling because obviously I'm still here and I didn't die.
Thank goodness.
But they're so good at what they do, and when you have that at your fingertips, I think that's what pulls them into wanting that same feeling all the time. And you got to use drugs or alcohol to get there.
That magic.
Possibly, I'm not, that's.
I was reading that thing about a great. I love Black Sabbath, so always reading books about Black Sabbath. And a great bit where they were saying that when they were making Technical Ecstasy, there was I think there was so much coke. It was coming in like in packets, like washing up packets. They don't
had
remember.
a budget. Yeah. They had a budget that was actually
70 grand. 70 grand.
Yeah, holy shit! How do these guys even have a palate anymore?
I know, or a septum.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Septum, palate, whatever. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It's getting to Black Sabbath. When we did Blasted to Static. When I was a paper boy, and I was 12, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that realm. I was delivering papers in Wisconsin, and I had this little cassette player, and the album Paranoid came out, and that thing could have been duct taped in there and nailed shut because I never played anything else. For maybe 4 or 5 months, I played that album and that album alone over and over in this little AOI cassette player.
Yes.
And it was in my paper route bag.
Yeah.
Bass all the way up, treble all the way up, volume all the way up. After 4 or 5 months, that speaker was shredded, paper. And I knew what it was doing, but it sounded like hell. And I used to have to deliver papers at 5 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. And I come in Monday morning after delivering my papers, blasting Black Sabbath, as I always did. And the route captain comes in where we sub our papers and goes, "Martin, come over here." And he goes, "I got to fire you." This little pimple face, little shit
Yeah,
face metalhead me. "Well, what did I do?" He goes, "Some lady called in. There's other people called in. They're sick and tired of your fucking, you know, shredded wheat, goddamn heavy metal playing." And one lady said, "Tell that kid to turn that shit down. He's got it blasted to static." That's where I got the name for the band of my
Brilliant.
first firing as a paper boy.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I had a similar thing. I bought when it came out Power Slave. And
yeah.
I had it on a cassette Walkman, but I had it on my headphones. And
Yeah.
I live very close
So
to
you
a-
just shredded your eardrums.
Oh,
You
mate,
didn't
yeah.
shred the neighbors.
No, I did my eardrums. And I'm going past this church, this local church. And I remember I was about 14 or something. And I thought, this is the heaviest, most. I feel bad going past this church listening to this. Like, and it's not, if you listen to the album, there's nothing on it that's anti-Christian but because it was
No.
so raucous and
Yeah.
so loud, and I remember I can still see
You might have needed some of this stuff right here.
yeah that's it
Right.
that's it.
Oh my God.
Oh my god! But I just remember standing in front of the church and listening to "Roman the Ancient Mariner," which is my favorite song of all time,
Oh yeah.
and just being taken away on this magical ride. And I just
Yeah.
feel that I feel sad. I mean, I'll be honest with Jeff, mate. You've lived many lifetimes. You've
Yeah.
lived many lifetimes, and I envy you. You wouldn't believe, right? But I feel sad for the modern kids. I really do. I mean, my two kids were growing
Yeah.
up. Have grown up now. They grew up before the internet.
They'll never know this.
no.
This.
This-
They'll,
The love,
Yeah.
like you said, having that. I remember buying. I think what was it? I think it was White Snakes, the big one they did. One of the '90s. I can't remember. It. I saw them at Donington with Steve Vai, and I
Yeah.
had that on my platter, and that played. I reckon I wore that thin. I don't think it came off my record deck
yeah.
ever
No.
and a day. You know what I mean?
Those
Occasionally,
are
I'd turn it
the
over.
things that, and that really shapes you, you know?
It does
That was the beginning of really shaping me into heavy metal. I mean, yeah, I remember when Master of Reality came out, and I had to go to my brother's out on this lake that he lived at in the middle of winter, just freezing ass cold. And he was trying to get a snowmobile started. He couldn't get it started. He finally pulled his shotgun out and shot it because we have terrible we're terrible with inanimate objects. People-
Bash
With
it like my dad
people,
used to.
I'm okay, you know, you don't have to worry about me beating the shit out of you or anything. But with inanimate objects, but I remember he had just bought that album, and he was my brother that went to Vietnam, bought this huge stereo, sent it back from Saigon, and he had that in the house, and he was big Fisher, you know,
Oh.
speakers, and just a huge, and that's where I learned how to play on an 8-track. Because I hit my snare drum so goddamn hard that I would make the stylus jump up and down on the records.
Good old
And I put
8-tracks.
quarters on them just to hold the stylus
Yes,
down.
I did it
and
2p
wear the
pieces.
records out. Yeah. And I have to keep on. But anyway, that night, he put me in the bed, and you know I was 13 or something like that then. And he put all these electric blankets over me. I was covered with all this shit. And he was freezing out in the living room somewhere. But he put that on. Children of the Grave came on. And the grave. And I'm, you know, it just freaked me out, you know. But it was so fucking good. It's those kind of moments are life changing, will make you go in that direction musically. You know?
Yeah, like I remember putting on. I got given a friend of mine. I had two friends called Melvin. One was Crazy Melvin. One was normal Melvin. Right? Crazy Melvin was he's off the wall. He's a character.
We had a crazy Melvin. We had a crazy Melvin in our
absolutely
that was
nuts.
his name too. He had a head like a watermelon.
Yes, absolutely.
And he walked around. He walked around the. I got my ass kicked for this, but he walked around the whole neighborhood with a full 6-pack of Cokes, the little ones.
Yes.
The 6 ounces,
Yeah.
and he'd never drink them or share them, but he'd carry them around. And he'd carry them up like this. And he had I swear to God, he had ears out. He looked like a New York cab with the doors open, you know? But we did, hey, Melvin, come here. And me and my buddy used to cut lawns. When I wasn't doing paperboy shit, I was always working. And we said, hey, we'll buy you another 6-pack of Cokes if you pee on this lawnmower.
No,
While it's running. And he did. And it burnt his fucking ovaries. And my dad, the parents came over. He says, my son can't even pee. He's pissing blood. You made him piss on this lawnmower. My dad took me out in the garage and just beat the holy fucking hell out of me for doing that one. I go, well, I didn't think it, it's like telling a kid, go ahead and stick your tongue in the middle of winter. Stick your tongue on this railroad track.
Oh, no.
It won't stick, It's one of those things.
It isn't it.
You had to see if it worked or not. And Melvin was the guy.
What's it always called Melvin? No, my mate Crazy Melvin, he was a punk from the 70s, and he had these, he was a hoarder. Like, and he wore skin tight leopard skin pants. He had hair down to his waist. He was from Mauritius, so he's dark skinned, and he was just crazy. Anyway, I'd go around to his house, and he'd have if you bought one record, he was a massive Ramones fan, so he'd have one of it, but he'd have 6 of the same album in different colours, of vinyl. And I'd go in and he'd go, hey, do you want that one? And I'd go, you don't want it? He goes, yeah, take it. I'm not going to play it. So I'd go off, and I remember him giving me this cassette, and it just said Venom on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was late night, and I'm walking back through the park, really dark, and I thought, I'll put this tape in. It was A War with Satan. And I was like, oh, I was 16, and the hair just went, boom.
Yeah.
And I walked out there, I got into the streetlights, and my life changed. I was like, this is the music for me. This is unbelievable. I love horror movies. This is it.
That same moment for me is when one of my other brothers came home from Stevens Point College, and the Jimi Hendrix "Are You Experienced" album was laying on our dining room table, and I just picked it up and looked at it, and I went, "Oh, what is this? This is like these guys are from outer space."
Yeah.
All got froze. You got 2 white guys with froze, and Hendrix looking with the crazy jacket. And then I put that on, and that was it for me.
Well, he's from a different planet. He is from a different planet. Let's be honest. There would only ever be one Hendrix. Yeah. And it's
thank
that kind
God.
of sound. Thank
I
God.
I don't want another Hendrix.
No. I absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
Other guys, they, one of my favorite. If I could play like any guitar player, and I cannot play guitar at all. If I could play like anybody, I'd want to play like Robin Trower.
Oh yes,
that would be my pick for me playing. Yeah, and he had, because he used a Univibe, and he's got some traits of Hendrix in him. And to tell you the truth, so did Yuli. Yeah. That's what I was going to get on before that. Yuli was all into that Sky thing, and I'm going, man, when he was back in the In Trance album with the big whammy bar and stuff, you see him playing live, he's better than he is on the album. Yeah. And so Hendrixy, and he was all, purple hazy and
dynamic.
And I was hoping that if I got to play with Yuli, I could talk him into playing like that again.
Oh, brilliant.
But of course you can't.
No.
He's in his own. But Rob told me that he has, I don't know if it's 8 or 12 years. It's a certain amount of years that Yuli says that he devotes to a certain passage, and then he's going to move on and go somewhere else.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's true, but that's what Rob told me.
Isn't that crazy?
He knew that about Yuli, that he will get to a certain point, kind of like, like looking at David Bowie. He was Ziggy Stardust, and that whole thing. Yep. I have another Ziggy Stardust song on Ziggy Plays Guitar is on this new album, the new Lethal Exit, and Paul
Oh,
Gilbert's playing on that one. And it's only out in Japan. So if you want that song, you got to buy the
the import.
Japan version.
I will do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I love Bowie and
Yeah.
one of my
We did
favorite
Moon
albums.
Age Daydream. We did
Yeah.
Moon Age Daydream and Racer X, so I wanted to revamp another.
Exactly. It's like when Motorhead did Heroes. It's just
Mm.
like, in
Yeah.
fact, I think that's a better version than Bowie's version. I know it sounds
Yeah.
sacrilege, but it really is
Yeah, yeah,
it's another level, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's another bass player, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Lemmy.
But I will send you. I'll send you a video of this new thing. Just let everybody know this is on Metallic Blue Records.
Yes, I will do.
Yeah, and I don't know when the American release is or the European, but Japan is doing pre-sales. They get to release it first in Japan, and that's the 16th of this month.
I love it when they do that.
Yeah.
I love it when
Yeah.
people do that pre-launch in Japan. They used to always do that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm trying to talk I don't know when the American release is, but I said, why don't you send us 50 copies? We'll all sign it, send it around to everybody, get a signed copy for the first 50 copies.
Brilliant.
Milan will put a pick in it with
Oh.
his name on it. Wait till you hear him play. He's playing alongside Paul, and they're a perfect match. Milan is very Yngwie-ish, actually. So I think
Wow.
if you like Yngwie, you'll like.
Yes.
But he's also got a more bluesier side, like doing stretches and letting notes carry and stuff.
Well,
But
that's
then all
right.
of a sudden he'll go off on a stretch, you know.
Yeah, he'll go off a gallop somewhere. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a cheese grater.
No, no.
I'm just going to grate your face off, and
I'll be honest with you that when I was a young teenager, that's what I loved. All about the speed
yes.
but as I've got older and as a more mature, I mean, I've always I like the space between the notes. The noise, the sound that isn't made is the sound that's better than the one that's made sometimes.
I think I heard this from Gary Moore. He said, sometimes you shoot a machine gun, and sometimes you got a high-powered rifle with a scope.
That's exactly it. One shot.
The bullets on the machine gun are going to get around there, and you're going to get some right in the center. But with that high-powered rifle and the scope, you're going to get it right in the middle of the center.
Beautiful analogy. That is typical Gary Moore.
Yeah,
Typical,
and that's
typical
that
Gary Moore.
one note that you're looking for.
That one note.
Yeah.
I talk to bands where guitarists say, I've spent like 6 weeks just playing that, trying to get that one moment.
Oh yeah.
And it's driving me mad. I'm like,
yeah.
I
and all you end up getting is the brown note, and you got to go change your underwear.
Exactly right. On that note, my friend, we better wrap up. But it's been a fantastic talking to you. I'm so looking forward to the new album coming out and seeing that video. I'm
going to send you that video. I'll let you know when you can release it.
Yeah.
You get a pre look at it.
Oh, brilliant!
And I'll let you know when you can release it, and then you can release it to your people.
I will. Brilliant. I'd love to. I can't wait. I hope you're not too close to the fires where you are. You're okay where you are? That's not.
Well, I live in Lake Tahoe, which you can see right here.
Okay. Yes.
Snow and big
enough.
pine trees. So when
Beautiful.
we get fire danger or wind, they cut our power off. And, we have a lot of fire scares here, too.
It's such a big continent. I never know.
No, I'm 8 hours away from where all that stuff's going on, and
You're probably getting the smoke from it though, because we do it here in Australia.
no, because the Santa Ana winds they don't come in from the ocean; they go out.
Oh, okay.
They go to the west. They come from the east and go straight out, and that's why. I used to live in Westwood when I was in Racer X. The first place I lived before my girlfriend, now wife, came out to LA. I lived in Westwood, which is right on Sunset Boulevard, right on UCLA. You go a half a mile across the 405, and that's Pacific Palisades.
Oh, it's
all
not
the
far.
way to the ocean. You follow
Yeah.
Sunset Boulevard to the ocean, and that's all Pacific. To think, I used to ride a mountain bike down that mountain canyon called Sullivan Canyon into the middle of Pacific Palisades. It's all beautiful ranch style houses with big white fences and dressage horses.
Yeah, sort of like
Beautiful horses.
sort of idyllic kind of American.
Idyllic,
Yeah.
beautiful old Ronald Reagan type stuff. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
all gone.
Isn't it a
It's
shame?
all gone. It's like Hiroshima gone.
Yeah, it happens here in Australia more than we'd like. And
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah, you've had
I
some
feel for them.
terrible.
I mean,
You've had some terrible, terrible fires. So,
I was
so have we every summer. I mean, I build old English motorcycles. I take them down in
Nortons.
the summer. I have a Norton that you would die for.
Oh.
I got first place in Cycle World magazine in 2000. with it. It's a 850 Commando 74, and absolutely every piece of it's got every mod you can get to stop oil change. The barrels are punched out to an 880. It's got a Peter Williams Stage 3 cam in it. It's ready to explode and blow up, but it's a sweet. It's got a 35 coats of candy apple burgundy red over gold. So in different colors, you get under a mercury vapor light, it looks like dry blood. Get out in the sun, it looks like iridescent pearl red. You know.
God, that's lovely.
Yeah, I'll send you. I'll send you a picture of that,
Do that.
too.
Oh my God!
I need to put it in. If you listen to "Bolt in My Heart,"
Yep,
by Racer X on the, I think that's the Technical Difficulties
it is.
album.
Yes, yeah.
That's it, starting up and ending on the song.
Oh, really?
I started. That's my Norton.
Oh,
Yeah. And then I have Triumphs too. I have a Triumph that they only made 150 of. And
my brother-in-law's got a
shit like
very
that.
rare Triumph here as well. He loves them.
Really?
Yeah. Beautiful
Yeah.
bikes. Racing green.
Well, they're trying to get them back to England because in the 70s they were all sent out to America.
Of course they were. Yeah, it's like all the Vespas were sent to India.
Steve McQueen.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve McQueen had everybody. You know, if you had a dick, you had to have a Triumph. You know?
Yeah. Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
And if you wanted to make your small dick feel bigger, get a Triumph.
Get a
Get a
Triumph.
Bonneville.
Yeah, got
Get a Bonneville. Yeah.
All right, man. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Hey, great talking with you.
I have
And let's
loved-
do it again sometime. I
Oh,
will
yeah.
send you once the album's out. Let's do another shorty. Or
Let's do it.
something. You
Let's
can
do
talk
it.
about the album.
Yeah,
'Cause
let's
I
do
think
it.
you really like it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking
Even
forward
my
to
wife that very rarely commented on new Racer X albums that I did in the past. She heard this one and she goes, "This is the best album you've ever done." And that she never says that.
Oh,
So
well,
there you go.
well, I'm hoping that well, I know it's going to be brilliant, and let's hope
But
that
maybe
that's big numbers.
maybe you need tits to like this album. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm getting to a certain age.
It's possible. It's possible. All right. Take care of yourself.
Ciao, man. See you, mate.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There's one thing that will forever change the way you sleep, and it's the softest 100% organic cotton bedding from Boll & Branch. You'll fall asleep faster wrapped in the most luxurious comfort. You'll never sleep hot again with airy blankets, cloud-like duvets, and breathable sheets. You'll experience pure comfort on night one and feel your bedding get softer with every wash. Discover the difference with 15% off your first order at bollandbranch.com with code BUTTERY. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
America's energy future begins now. More American oil and natural gas means more jobs, more security, and more innovation. America's moment is now. Learn more at lightsonenergy.org. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.